Hi, I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
Well, we're the insiders. So Scott, coronavirus, is this going to have a long-term impact on politics or even a short-term impact? Is there anything that's going to change in this world with this kind of pandemic situation?
Well, the short-term impact is amazing, really, right? I mean, politics is all about touching as many voters as you can. And here we are in a time where you can't touch people. It's all about big rallies. Can't have any rallies. It's all about fundraisers at people's homes to raise enough money to pay for your campaign. Can't have gatherings of more than 10 people or whatever it is. So you can't even have a headquarters, right? Because there's probably there are dozens of people who are working on your campaign. You can't even gather the people working on your campaign. So it's all a new world for people and really a short time frame for many of these elections. So I'm fascinated. I think people are going to have to switch to new forms of communication, new forms of fundraising, lots of stuff. Social media is going to become very big in a short period of time. Lots of digital ads are going to become very important. Then it all goes to the question of turnout. You can't even do turnout the way you normally do turnout in an election. You can't be knocking on people's doors. People aren't going to be opening their doors up to strangers to answer questions or whatever. I think you gotta, if I were a campaign consultant this cycle, I would be telling people you want to get as many of your people to vote by absentee as possible, as many people to early vote when the crowds are smaller as possible. But that's all very hard to manage and not something that most campaigns are up for. So it's a very difficult time to be a candidate. And my goodness, don't make a joke, right? Even just trying to be funny a little bit, who knows how people are going to take jokes in this whole environment.
I think everything that Scott has said is true. But adding to that, I think digital media and all of these forms of communication are going to be just tremendously amplified going forward, and it will accelerate what was already happening in the political world, but it will accelerate that, as you're going to see that in other parts of our society. But and also, I think the turnout issue is important, and frankly, one of the things I'm worried about as a Democrat, we tend to get the marginal voters. And if those people are less likely to turn out, that hurts us. But let me give you something else that I think is going to change, which I think is going to help enormously on the Democratic side. The Democrats have a very inclusive message. We want everybody to be taken care of. We are in this together as a society. The Republican attitude is more eat what you kill. Go out and make your way in the world and we'll get by. I do think that this is a time when people we are all in it together. We realize now that somebody else's illness could relate to the illness of us or our parents or our grandparents or our children. I think that is going to change. I think that one of the things that's going to change in politics, I think you're going to have to be more of a uniter. That serves somebody like Tony Evers well. I think it serves Joe Biden well. It would have served and did serve Tommy Thompson well. It will not be so good for those people who are dividers. And I believe Donald Trump is a divider. Even as this is going on, he's tweeting against governors and aggressively attacking them. I don't think that's what people want. They see that we're all in this boat together and we better row together. I think that's one of the implications that may have tremendous implications for the fall, not just for the presidential race, but across the country. We'll see whether that turns out.
The other thing I think is the focus right now is on health, making sure everyone is safe. At some point, the focus is going to flip very hard to the economy. When people see how all the health measures are going to affect the economy all across the country, there's a whole bunch of people who are going to be younger and we're like, this isn't affecting me. Why am I out of a job? So I think there's going to be a whole bunch of different issues will move to the fore. Issues that may not have been big before, like sick leave, could suddenly be a bipartisan issue, as you talked about people uniting. I think it can change the issue cluster. It's going to change the turnout. Do you say the marginals, the people who are normally less likely to vote, will now skip it? I wonder if the people who always vote, which are old white folks, they're the ones most vulnerable to the virus, so do they vote? I think there's a lot to be figured out in the days ahead, and these campaigns are going to find their world changing almost every day.
Yeah, there's a lot to unfold here, and even though we're insiders, I think we recognize there's a lot of uncertainty as to how this progresses. I'll tell you one thing, though. We all know the digital world is coming, and if you didn't do it before as a politician, you darn well better be doing it now.
Facebook Live post. That's the next thing. All right. See you next week.